Hello everybody, welcome back to CNS Corvettes in Sarasota, Florida. This is your Corvette buddy Lyle. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the 5 things you need to do as you pull your car out of mothballs from the winter and get ready to start driving it in the springtime. Before we do that, if you take a chance to like, subscribe, and maybe even leave me a super thanks over here in the corner. If you find my videos useful, make sure you tell your Corvette friends about them because I'm trying to grow the channel so I can do more for you and you can do more for me and everybody's happy. Thank you. Back to the 5 things I recommend you do when you start pulling your car out of mothballs from the winter. Now, some people literally have them in mothballs up on blocks in a barn in North Dakota, and other people just put them away because they don't want slush on their Corvette for the winter that are in, Tennessee or whatever. But all of this applies regardless of the environment you're in. So, number 1, when you start getting ready to pull your car out, open the hood and do a test feel on the hoses. Get a good look at both sides of your drive belts. Make sure that there's no cracking, that they aren't turning brown with age, anything like that. If you can see cracks in the ribs, you know it's time for them to go. Also check your wiper blades. If you could run your 2 fingers down the edge of the blade and it's nice and smooth, you might be able to get away with it for a month or 2. But if you can feel that it's rough, that edge isn't perfectly smooth, the wipers are done. Go ahead and get some fresh wipers on before you start driving. Back to the hoses for a second. When you squeeze the hoses, if they feel kind of just really squishy and a little bit gummy, you know that they're starting to get to the end of their life cycle because the rubber's starting to break down. They may still be functional, but you definitely want to go ahead and replace them before you start putting a ton of miles or getting further away from home as the spring and summer come on. Number 2, open the hood while you're there checking all that stuff. Look at your battery. Okay, first of all, check the sides of the battery. Okay, because when a battery starts to go bad, it'll start bulging out at the sides. This is an indication that you have an internal fault or an internal short, and it'll pooch out. When you see that, it's time to replace the battery. Assuming that your battery is fine and it has nice straight sides, you're going to want to go ahead and check both connections. Make sure there's no corrosion. Make sure they're tight. Make sure you can't just turn them by hand. And if they are, then you're going to need to get some new clamps to hook to your battery cables to put on there, or just get new battery cables. But if you tighten that down as much as you can and it is not secure on that pole, time to go. Number 3, of course, fluids. I always do videos talking about how fluids are so important. Well, when the car's been sitting for several weeks, months, it's the best time to check and see how your fluids look. You want to check all your fluids for color, consistency, scent, any kind of deposits or debris that may be floating in them. And specifically with your coolant, you want to test the acidity or the alkalinity of your coolant. And actually you can go on Amazon and buy test strips specifically for that. You just dip in there and it'll tell you if your coolant's okay. Remember, back to the battery for just a second. Just because your car starts doesn't mean it's healthy, okay? So if all the other things are good, I still recommend that you test your battery, you have it tested. Most parts places do it for free before you start driving for the summer. Sorry, had to go back to battery for a second. So fluids, make sure that your brake fluid color is good, all that stuff. We covered fluids. Number 4, take a good look at your tires. Now, a lot of people, especially way up north where it gets really cold, put their cars up on blocks so they don't get flat spots on their tires from sitting. You want to spin them around, get a good look at the tread depth. You want to get a good look at the inside of the treads to make sure you don't have any dry rot or creasing starting in there, or on the outer edge of the tire is usually where you'll see dry rot starting. Obviously, you're going to get your tires up to the recommended pressure, and also take a good look at the date on your tires, because if that tire is 6 years old or older, it is time to start considering replacing them. Even if they look perfect, I really don't recommend running tires more than 6 years old. And finally, number 5, go ahead and open up every part of the car. Hood, doors, hatch, make sure everything moves freely. Make sure that your support struts for the hood, the rear hatch, the trunk, the tonneau cover, however your car is configured, are actually doing their job. That they not only raise the panel, but hold the panel there without you just being able to touch it with one finger and having it fall. That's a safety issue. They're inexpensive. I have them on my website. In fact, I'm going to do a video just about those here in a little bit, and I'll put that up later, just talking about why they're important and how much they are. And my most favorite thing here, and this is the one, if you take nothing else away from this video, lube your door hinges. C4, C5, C6, C7. Lube your door hinges. White lithium grease is fine, dielectric grease is fine. You don't want to use WD-40 because it's not actually a lubricant, it's a water displacer, hence the WD. But you want to get something on all facets of the hinge part of your door hinges, upper and lower, both sides of the car, so that you don't ever run the risk of having that hinge bind up because it's dry, because you will break the fiberglass in your door shell and you will need a door. So make sure you do that. So those are the 5 things I recommend on a short list to do in order to get your car ready for the spring or summer. Any questions, any comments? Hit me up below on the bottom. I'll see you soon. Thank you.